tough physical contact. In some sports, it is accepted. It's even in the rule books. But basketball traditionally is not considered a contact sport. Sure, in playgrounds like this one all across America, you can play a little more physical without the whistle. And once you get to the pros, one would think the rules would protect you. Think again.
Flying into the stands, falling all over themselves, yelling at the refs, or you know, doing whatever. If that's what it takes to win, then anybody will do it.
Not all physical contact makes the highlight films, and these days not a second ticks by without somebody doing something to somebody else. More often than not, when away from the ball, it is forgiven by an opponent, ignored by the refs.
If they're over there playing their silly little game of banging each other around and it has no effect on the rest of the play, who really cares? I don't care, and the fans don't care.
When you're playing, you really don't think about how much you can get away with. You just think about how much is happening around you, and until the whistle blows, you don't stop.
These playoffs have certainly had their share of whistles. All the players will tell you that when the championship is on the line, it is simply more intense. They'll also tell you the best medicine is sometimes retaliation.
If the game is very physical, you've got to play that way. You can't afford to let nobody push you around, especially at this stage of the game. You got to fight fire with fire.
It's a nice, well-placed elbow to the back of the head or to the back, and then the next time down, you're thinking, well, it's my turn. So it's one thing leads to another, and you just wish they don't turn into fights, but sometimes they do.
Byron Scott moving inside.
This incident involving Cooper was mild compared to some of the brawls we've seen during the playoffs.
Walker and Ames, and Walker did connect on it.
All that was missing here was a ring and a bell. All this aggressiveness takes its toll on the players and even the trainers.
During the regular season, we may have 3 or 4 ice bags for 12 men after a game. During the playoffs, we have to have 15, 18 ice bags.
Every part of your body gets abused, no part more than others.
Obviously, the NBA doesn't have padding and helmets, but some players improvise within the rules. And you gotta wonder just how far a player has to go to protect himself.
Well, I would take the stuff they use in rollerball. They had the big spikes on the arms and all the pads and the motorcycles riding up and down the court. I think that would work out pretty good.
Spikes on the arms I can see, not the motorcycles.
10 of 10 from the foul line. He's been a good foul shooter this year, better than career, shooting 80% this season from the line.
A bullet from Drew. Boy, can he throw that ball hard. Out to AC. 20-footer will be short. It is. Rebound is off on a loose ball foul. Look out. Whoa! That's all for Teagle. Teagle's through, I'll guarantee you that.
That was not smart.
That was not. Teagle is through probably for the series. At least another game. Jamerson, I think, started it. I think he gave a cheap shot to Teagle, and Teagle then chased him out in open air and open daylight and hit him twice flush. Teagle will be gone, no question. The referees are conversing, 3 of them. Teagle explaining to his coach, but that won't help. If they saw what I saw, Teagle's gone.
Oh, he's gone. There's no question. One of the 3 of them saw Terry Teagle throw a punch. He is definitely out of here.
Now Smith comes over, and Teagle wants to be restrained again. What's the matter with you, Terry? The referees are sending him to the locker room. Oh, that's a bad break for the Lakers. A terrible break for the Lakers. I'm not worried about tonight. He's even fighting the grip that the guard has got on him, trying to help him, trying to protect him from maybe getting fined $7,500 or $10,000 plus a suspension, which will not only hurt him, it'll destroy this team, because he has been carrying, as we just showed you, a graphic 17 points in his last 11 games. Now let's see if we can see what happens for sure. I know what Teagle did. There it is right there. Jamerson pulls him down. Watch Teagle now. Now he'll get him again. He chases him and get him again. Larry Smith's trying to stop Teagle, who throws his mouthpiece to the floor. Mr. Mean is saying, I'm not trying to be mean. That goes on all the time, Stu.
No question about it. I mean, if that's all it took to get him going, he was fired up to begin with.
Shoot.
Incited by Teagle. Big Larry Smith coming over to grab Terry Teagle, who is still furious. And it took a while to get him calmed down. Well, the foul has been called, obviously. Teagle's gone for the night. Jamerson at the line. And he has put 5 quick points on the board here in the second quarter.
Now, see, this is how playoff series can change right there on something like that. And Pete, what I'm going to tell you is a story. When I played in Philadelphia, we were up 20 on Portland in Game 2 of the finals. Daryl Dawkins had a big brawl with Maurice Lucas. Everything broke loose. We had control of that series, and Portland went on to beat us 4 straight. So little things like this can change a whole series. And we'll have to see how Houston now reacts to what happened in that little scrum between Teagle and Jamerson.
5
the bracket, tried to hustle for the rebound. Miller with a speed beat him. Richardson, look out. Miller on the run. Ooh, he goes down awfully hard. Miller hit the painful hoop. He has 4 points. Let's see it.
Well, when a player is going at full speed and he's up in the air and he gets bumped a little bit, you can't say there's Bill getting in. He stops himself, and I just don't see that as a flagrant foul. It's unfortunate that it happened, but that's part of the game.
He was up under him, but did not throw out the hip to undercut him. Just happened in transition. Obviously, when you have a reputation around the league, as Bill does, sometimes people accuse him of dirty work when he hasn't committed any sin. 34-30 is the Indiana lead on the strength of a couple of hoops by Miller. Luckily with Davis closing and Aguirre with 8. He had some big crunch time points last night against Minnesota. Mark wanted to foul Alexander. Heard enough of complaining. Gives Mark a tee. Now Isaiah's barking at Alexander. He's going to get one too. Oh my, 2 technicals. In fact, Isaiah's gone. Ron Rothstein is all over Alexander now. What a tough part of the game this is. I don't know if it's Isaiah or Aguirre who's gone. Another technical. We got 3 here. We could have 4 or 5. Look at this. Isaiah's all over Alexander. He's ringing him up like a cash register. I believe Isaiah's gone. The wheels have come off here. Isaiah picked up 2. Rothstein picked up 2. He's gone. Oh, what a tough break here. A 5-point game. It all started with Aguirre wanting a foul at the other end on his make, figuring there was a 3-point play. Alexander hit him. Now let's see who is tossed. Aguirre's over by the bench. Isaiah goes. So does Rothstein. I believe Brendan Malone will take over. Brendan Malone running the show with Don Chaney next to him. Miller, got it! Why not? 8 straight points by Reggie Miller, and the Pistons are down 13.
Is that the first 8-point play in history?
Boy, unbelievable. Crowd coming unglued. Mark Aguirre takes it inside, draws a whistle, hit the top hoop, and he goes to the line. Aguirre's hit. That's where it is right now. Miller against Dumars. Step out, switch by Aguirre. Dumars has to contend with Trent. Bob Miller! Oh, what a huge hoop. Reggie Miller for 3, 110, 106. Miller with 29. His second 3 of the quarter.
Terry Mills kicks it into Dumars. Rodman tips it up once, twice, stays alive with it, and tracks it down and disappears over the scorer's table. What an effort, and that is not surprising.
Request that a decision is made on my status. If it is their decision to release me, then make that choice. If it's to be as a contributing member of this team, then make that choice. And if the Bullets believe I'm no longer capable of competing in this arena, then a decision should be made accordingly. I've worked awfully hard to make it back here, and I don't think that's too much to ask.
He is not going to dictate what he's going to do on this team. He is not going to dictate. I am going to dictate to the coach, and the coach is going to dictate to the team. That's the way it's always been, and that's the way it will be. No player is going to dictate to us.
During the same week, there was a confrontation between Bernard and Coach Wes Unseld, and King was suspended for 4 days.
We were going through a regular practice. For some reason, Bernard decided he didn't want to. He took a ball off the rack, and in the middle of the practice, started shooting. I asked Bernard to put the ball up. He said that he didn't have to, and some things that, need not didn't say it. I asked him to leave the gym. He said that he wasn't, he worked hard enough to be here, and some other things. Then I pushed him off the floor and told him he was not going to disrupt practice. That was the end of it. The guys, of course, thought it was going to get more than that. That was it. And he said some things, I said some things too, and that was the end of it.
I think this action is indicative that the Washington Bullets are not going to be dictated to when it comes to decisions that affect not only one but all 12 players on our team.
King returned to practice after serving his suspension, but the next day the Bullets released him. For now, King watches and waits and hopes for another NBA team to give him a shot.
And Bruce Beck joins us now to bring us the latest. You spoke to him yesterday. What did he say?
Well, Bernard declined an interview for now, but said he's ready. And his physician, Dr. Norman Scott, says that his knee is better than it's ever been.
Big game day at Madison Square Garden. We always like to get the opposing team arriving. It adds drama. Now, the Bulls are here today, and of course, that is special. They'll be coming up just in minutes, right up this very ramp. And of course, since we work at the Garden, we know that. We're privy to the secret information. So we'll be able to get a private interview with one of the defending world champions. It should be very exciting. What is that? What is that?
I don't know. What is that? I don't know.
Come on. We better get out of the way. Come on. Come on. Hurry up. Hey, guys, which one was Jordan?
He is so annoying, first of all. And an afternoon game, as you know, will do that to you. Flashing back to yesterday, the other incident, little bump between Smith and J.R. Reed, and then the shove by Reed.
Look at Muggsy Bogues there pushing guys around.
Muggsy looking to get involved. It counts. And the
Rod Thorne of the league front office acted quickly today in the wake of an altercation that occurred just yesterday in Charlotte's game against the Miami Heat. Watch as ex-Knick Johnny Newman goes flying right into your living room. The result of Willie Burton's shove. Today, the Heat forward was suspended 1 game by Thorne. He's not playing against the Knicks and fined $6,000. Newman was levied merely a $1,500 fine for retaliating. Not sure what exactly Rod expected him to do. Wood ganged up on Chicago, 126-123. Utah wins it. Michael Jordan could have put it away himself late in the second overtime, but he missed 2 free throws. Bulls lead is 3. John Stockton responds with a clutch three-pointer to tie and send the game to the third OT, sending Utah fans into ecstasy. Final seconds again. Jordan connects on a jumper that ties the game at 123. Simple instruction from Jerry Sloan, push it. Jeff Malone does. And as Malone goes up, Jordan reaches in. Looks like a good play. Malone takes a dive, and referee Wood buys it, calling Jordan for the foul. Phil Jackson went nuts. Michael went nuts and was ejected for his temper tantrum. Jeff Malone calmly sank 2 free throws plus the technical to give Utah its stirring 3-point victory.
Kings by 2. Offensive foul and a technical foul called on Spud Webb for his reaction.
Any outburst of this kind of nature by a player will get a technical. That draws the crowd's attention, which is what the officials don't want to see.
Spud called for that offensive foul. John Starks hit the technical, and then Webb hit with the tee off his reaction.
Off the court, Xavier McDaniel fined $3,500 today by the NBA front office for a recent altercation with Houston's Carl Herrera. And Michael Jordan listed as day-to-day with an ankle sprain he suffered last night.
The man Loha's down. He slides into third. We go the other way. Humphreys puts it up underneath. That's no good. Humphreys and Green go off the end of the floor, and it's going to be kicked out of the ball game. The coach. What he's hollering about it, he's liable to get a big fine. He should get out of there. He's a very nice gentleman. He just lost his cool. He thought his man driving to the hoop was foul. If you see it on a replay on television, what do you think? The reason he got kicked out, he thought on this play that Humphreys was fouled.
Well, he thought after the shot was let go that A.C. Green came down on the back of Humphreys. Not much of a foul there, but it's been one of those nights.
Should I go for the white-haired guy out here like an idiot, or should I go for the basket? I can probably get more if I go for this white-haired guy. So he continues on. I'm set. I take the charge. He flops. And now look, they got the call to start with. Right here, Eddie Rush coming into the play. He's on top of it right there. He's got it. He's got the charge. I'm going to the foul line, as you can see. And I don't know what happens, but I'm going to talk to Shays about it. I believe Shays talks him out of it.
Oh, certainly one of the memorable moments of this NBA season.
The point is, I want my $1,000 back.
This is the Battlegrounds. We're at about 152nd Street and Amsterdam Avenue in Manhattan, and this is where I first really started playing competitive basketball with the guys in the neighborhood. It's kind of like, I don't know, the front pool table in a pool hall, so to speak, in that, you know, a lot of people would come by here and watch us as we played, and things got very competitive. And I'd learned how to really just try and win every time, and it was very important to look good out here in front of all the folks, and this was just our little place where we competed. I think it got the name the Battlegrounds from the fact that in those old gang war days there was 1 or 2 gang fights in here, and it got the name the Battlegrounds, and that name stuck from that point on.
That I've, to some degree, been overshadowed. People said I'm not an all-star, I'm just riding Michael's coattail.
But just prior to the '94 season, all that suddenly changed when Jordan stunningly would announce his retirement.
This was an opportunity when Michael's departure for me to really step forward and show some leadership.
Recognition he deserved. But in one fateful moment of Game 3 in the Eastern Conference semifinals, it would all be washed away.
1.8 seconds remain, fourth quarter. Knicks and Bulls tied at 102.
It seemed to be the moment Scotty was waiting for. But the play would be called for first-year Bull Tony Kukoc, and Pippen could simply not contain his frustration.
Scotty's going to sit here. Scottie Pippen is not on the floor for the Bulls right now. Unbelievable.
Though his refusal to go out on the court did not cost the Bulls the game.
Kukoc turned the jumper at the buzzer, and the Bulls win.
Pippen was instantly vilified.
Anytime a player has to step into the level of carrying the team, the weight becomes a duress, and at some point in the season it weighs very heavy when it's there all the time.
Playing under the pressure and duress of having to try to get to the next level, the experience was probably a step back for me.
At times, you make questionable decisions that maybe when you reflect back on them, they're not the best decision. And I think it really helped him grow as an individual to understand what type of responsibility you must have with this league.
In a sense, the play would prove to be a turning point in Scotty's career. Refusing to be consumed by it, Pippen worked harder than ever.
After 3 early playoff exits,
the Pistons would make a critical change in their philosophy.
Time to step on the floor is all business, and it's not fun and games anymore. It's a war.
The Pistons were fully equipped for battle. They would be taking no prisoners. The gallant Laker reserves played as if pumped with new life.
Right here, bang, you! Technical foul, 23!
Gaining a reputation as basketball's bad boys, Detroit was determined to show that they were the team to be reckoned with.
Tony Kukoc is out with a sprained ankle. He is at the end of the bench.
With Jordan and the Bulls applying the pressure, Seattle was about to self-destruct.
Serious trouble. Stay right here. Flagrant two.
Joe Crawford's going to go flagrant foul.
I got a flagrant foul. It's a flagrant foul. We got 2 shots and possession.
The conversation continues.
Come out here, foul. Come on. No, we just talking to him. We just trying to let them know what they were doing. That's not right.
Oakley able to save it. Here's Vandeweghe for Mason. Off the air ball. Kept alive by Wilkins. Here's Oakley, and he's fouled. And Oakley had the elbow flying into Hammonds.
Well, see that? These players don't realize that's how Charles takes layups.
Yes.
He goes for the body of the defender, and then he thinks about the basket. And, of course, if you're the victim, there's no logic to that at all.
And in very diplomatic fashion, Bullet players discussing that wild elbow with Charles. You can see that Harvey Grant was upset. Tom Hammonds.
Taking another look at Charles going up and then laying his elbow certainly unnecessarily on Hammonds.
Yeah, that was a unnecessary move. Bullet players correct in complaining, and Charles very fortunate that no foul was called, even though he was fouled in terms of the shot attempt. It will be Nick Ball. Here's another look at that drive by Oakley.
Yes, if any viewer or any person was Hammonds, they would be unhappy about that.
Conversation with the official at T. Rush, and now the foul against the Bullets. Elbowing call on Grant, and a technical foul called on Grant. Harvey Grant, if I can read lips, pointing out that Charles Oakley got away with an elbow at the other end, and he said something to the effect, "How can you call that on me?" That was in the first quarter. And Vandeweghe hits the technical, so the Knicks now lead 62-47. That represents their biggest lead of the night.
It's a reasonable request.
Harvey Grant, the twin brother of Horace of the Chicago Bulls, center, Landover, Maryland. McDaniel, yes! 11 for 12 for 26 points for the X-Man. It's the Knicks 88, Bullets 79. Grant and McDaniel are pounding each other. And a holding foul against the Knicks. It's on Starks. Knicks now over the foul limit. Ellison and McDaniel with some heavy conversation.
Bradford Smith having a tough night tonight. Getting in close. Starks denies him. Then he gets a bump. More than a bump, actually, from Xavier.
Landed on his wrist earlier. 0 for 9. It's on Starks. Knicks now over the foul limit. Impressive move by Benjamin. And there is cameraman Bill Tynan. And John, we're told that he had to rush home because he was called by his wife Nancy. And Nancy said, Bill, you better go because I'm having a baby. And there goes Bill. Coles and Burton in the backcourt. Cycling. Forced into a very difficult shot. Willie Burton is down and he is hurt. Wilkins, Knicks lead 66-43. Kevin Lowry wanted a 20-second timeout. Here's Burton, who's hurt. Gets a pass from Rice. How could Rice do that? The guy's holding his shoulder, obviously in pain. Foul call, though, on McDaniel, his third. Burton driven to the floor by McDaniel, as you can see. Oh, what a push by Xavier McDaniel, and he got away with it. And Burton now will sit down after injuring his shoulder. Keith Aston. Well, there is Brian Shaw, acquired by Miami in the trade with Boston for Sherman Douglas. You recall, after he left for Italy and then returned, he was not well received in Boston, faced the pressure, and was eventually dealt. Earlier, John talked about his departure from the Celtics.
I think when it gets to the point that it had gotten to, it was no other alternative but for me to go somewhere else, because it seemed like it's tough to play somewhere where they don't really want you to play for them, and I don't direct that at the management or anything like that. The media and the fans were really tough and never really accepted me back after I came back from Italy. So, I think that it was time for me to move on.
And Brian Shaw has really not done much to this point for the Miami Heat. Fourth quarter
at Minneapolis. Teaneck, New Jersey's Tony Campbell, the victim of a street mugging by Denver's Marcus Liberty. Shot went anyway, but those people missed the real shot of the night. For that, we go to the collegiate ranks. An otherwise unforgettable matchup between Western Kentucky and Southwestern Louisiana. Patrick Butts missed the first time, but you know what they say about try again.
Home series against the Bullets, where earlier this month they were victorious despite the usual difficulties they confront when visiting the Cap Center.
You turkey! I don't see how you can go to Barcelona. We're going to lose every team over there in Europe if you're on that team instead of Parmezelis.
Right behind the Chicago Bulls, who earlier tonight walloped Detroit 117-93. Here's Wilkins. And it will be Nick Ball.
One of the Warriors shaken up on that play. Competing with Patrick Ewing for the ball. Mario Elie hurting. Oh, Tyrone Hill, Marv. I misread that. And he is hurt. On that rushed jump shot, Patrick Ewing hustling with Golden State Warrior players for the ball. Hill losing his balance and hurting himself going down. Hill with the good position. And it looked like a Ewing elbow knocked him down for a count.
Tyrone Hill goes 6'9", 200.
I find them real rugged and strong. They love that slow down game. Of course, they can do that with Big Pat in the middle. You'd be crazy not to slow it down with Big Pat in the middle and try to get that guy the ball. And you have Anthony Mason and Oakley just pushing guys, and they're real rugged and real tough. And I love their game. I love the way they play.
The Bucks reset the offense. The call against Oakley.
Oh, that's a hard one to figure. Rakowski gave Oakley a massage around the neck. You rarely see Oakley object like this. Rakowski, look at this.
trying to get around Oakley, puts his hand around his neck. Murkowski's a rough guy, and he got it his way. Both teams over